What's going on, guys? It's Asuka Libre, and today we have our first look at the 9.1 patch on the PTR, and along with it came a lot of class changes, covenant changes, and all sorts of other stuff. Today I wanted to focus on specifically the Warlock class changes and how it's going to impact us in the new Raid 2. So starting off here, we have a buff to Dark Pact. This is a talent that granted an absorb shield by sacrificing a bit of health. And having it buffed, it's not really something that I would have really thought they would do. It's really good in niche scenarios like Sludge Fist Pillar Slams. And that's really that's like in the current tier, it's pretty much all I can think of. You can do it in like Denathrius as well, it's pretty good for. Um, all in all, it's a welcome change, but not really one that I thought was needed per se. But you know what? Why not? Unfortunately, it is still in the row with Burning Rush here, so uh, kind of like Burning Rush is really good from a progression standpoint. You know, it's kind of our only useful utility spell, I guess you can say. Um, but again, Dark Patch is good in its niche scenarios. Kind of showing off what the changes are. So if you read the tooltip, this is for live right now. Dark Pact sacrifices 20% of your health to shield yourself for 250% of the amount of sacrificed health, plus an additional 2038. Now, if we move over here to the PTR and we look at Dark Pact, that 2038 goes up to 600 or 6456, sorry, which is a huge change. This is going to potentially make this a very strong talent where you're going to have like soaks and not a lot of mobility. But I'm not sure what that's gonna look like in the new raid tier. We'll just have to wait and see. Next up here, we have a buff to Destruction's Chaos Bolt damage. Chaos Bolt has been damage increase has been Chaos Bolt damage increased by 10%. Now, this is a change that Destruction kind of needed, to be honest with you. Bolt's damage before is pretty laughable, especially for the history that this spell has, and the 10% damage increase will make this much more relevant spec, especially with the next few changes, as you can see here, which is the affliction changes. I don't think it comes to us as a surprise that affliction has been nerfed. And I think a lot of people wanted this stuff back. But yeah, these nerfs are pretty big, guys. So starting off, we have Rapture's damage has been nerfed by 18%. They were going to do a similar nerf when 9.0.5 came out, but they reverted that, and I guess they were saving it for this patch. Even back then, when that nerf was happening, a lot of people are ready to swap to Destruction, and now it's almost set in stone, I want to say. So next up we have the Focus Malignancy Conduit nerf. I'm gonna skip ahead of the other two here, and we'll focus specifically on the Rapture changes, as this kind of feels like it's a almost double whammy to the Rapture nerf. So on top of the 18% that they have already done, they also reduced the effectiveness of Focus Malignancy by 53%. Now, if you guys don't know what Focus Malignancy did, what it read was your Malefic Raptures dealt more damage to targets affected with unstable affliction. Now that they nerfed this conduit on top of the Malefic Rapture's base damage nerf, it really sucks, to be honest. Like, there's not much to say here other than damn, it's bad. Moving on, we have a change, I would say, to Shadow's Embrace. So now it lasts 16 seconds instead of 12, but it can only be applied to one target at a time. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, that's a nice quality of life change, right? You don't have to worry about stacking on multiple targets, it lasts longer, it's good, right? But there's a very big issue to this, and I'll show you here. This is on PTR right now. I'll swap to Affliction actually so we can actually properly show this here. So on PTR right now, if you were to Drain Soul this target, you'll start stacking your Shadow's Embrace. But let's say this guy over here, he was low. So you want to Shard Snipe him, right, with a Drain Soul. So you're going to Shard Snipe him. You get your Shard, but look at that. All your stacks of Shadow Embrace have fallen off from your primary target. So now you have to reapply all your stacks of Shadow Embrace. And this is, in fact, a nerf, I would say. Not really a good change, as a lot of people might think, as like losing out on the damage from Shadow Embrace, and you're getting punished because you want to optimize your play by shard sniping a low health target with Drain Soul. It's really going to affect how much like priority damage you're going to be able to put out, because then you're going to have to take the time to reapply your 3 stacks before you can, you know, go into a Rapture window. I much would have rather seen Shadow Embrace removed and instead have UA's 10% damage increase back. For those who don't know, in like Legion, or not Legion, sorry, BFA, maybe Legion, I'm not sure, but for sure in BFA, if a target had Unstable Affliction applied to it, it would take 10% more damage from all your other stuff. And Shadow Embrace back then was a talent. Now that's been changed, you know, this change, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good. Initially, I thought it was a good quality of life change, but this having, like, not being able to shard snipe properly, it just feels not good. There is a few good things that come out of this, these nerfs though, and that's that Agony's damage has been increased by 20%. Now, if they didn't do this, I definitely think like Affliction would be like dead in the water, but I don't know if this will make AF as relevant as it is now. I still think that other specs are going to prevail, like Destruction, but this change, you know, it's good in multi-dotting scenarios, and especially compared with the Wrath of Consumption legendary I'll just show you now. So this legendary here, it's Corruption and Agony, each granted a stack of Wrath Consumption, and when it dies, your periodic damage dealt is increased by 6% for 30 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. So it basically, sum it up, and makes your dots tick harder. And this could be really good with compared with this Agony buff, as if you're gonna have like a lot of ads dying, you know, something like Council or Sun King Salvation, you know, you're gonna have a pretty good amount of Agony damage rolling out there. And I mean, even like Corruption and Siphon damage, obviously, with this legendary as well. But again, I still don't know if it's going to make it better. Like, the blow that AF is receiving is pretty significant. We also have a change to the Sacrolash legendary here. It's being redesigned, and this is mainly tuned towards PvPers. So Corruption damage is increased by 25%, was 15, and each time Corruption deals damage, it extends the duration of all your curses on the active target by 2 seconds. This effect was actually before just a 50% slow on targets with Corruption. As if a lot of you RBGers have, like, you know, played against an Affliction Warlock in RBGs, they're pretty annoying, because all you need to do is put Corruption on you, the thing lasts for like 20 something seconds, and you're just slowed by 50% while taking a decent amount of damage. Having this change, it's not really relevant in PvE, but it is relevant in the PvP scenarios. Relatively big, I want to say. Probably gonna swap to no new legendary, if not not even play Affliction, I would maybe recommend, if you are only an Affliction PvPer, maybe think about like a Agony Sergeant Legendary, or maybe even one of the new Covenant legendaries that they're going to be releasing over the next few weeks or so. So now kind of like my final thoughts on the Warlock changes here. It's looking pretty grim for Af, I want to say. These changes brought Af down by a lot and is just making Destro the best spec for sure. Like, I don't think there's like any contention to that, to be honest. They're already pretty close in a lot of scenarios before this, and now that these changes have happened, it's kind of just the nail in the coffin. Unfortunately for Demo, there's no changes on here yet, but of course it is PTR. Everything can change I know within the next few weeks or so, so look out for the Demo stuff if there is there, Blizzard, please. But yeah, for now, I think the go-to is you're probably going to be playing Destruction. And with Destruction becoming the best spec, I think there might even be a Covenant swap that could happen in the near future. And it's a very real possibility that everyone will be swapping to Necrolord. As if you're purely a Destruction player, Necrolord was actually the best spec for you. The Decimating Bolt is really good. So it could very well be a real thing that for 9.1, if these changes are going to stay like this, Destruction will be the best, and that means that you're probably going to be playing a Necrolord Destruction. If you only care about player power, I would say. For everyone else who doesn't care about it, you're free to do whatever you want there, right? But that's just me. I only really care about the big stuff. I guess to round it off here, we do have a couple of other additions that I want to make out. It's going to be strictly for PvPers. So first off, we have for Affliction the inclusion of Shadow Rift. This is a ability on a 1-minute CD where it conjures a rift at a target location, and after 2 seconds, any enemies in that area will be teleported to your demonic circle. I don't think this is going to be, too relevant in PvP, at least in arenas. But it is something, kind of cute. Well, we'll show off the other ones here. So we'll have have added a PvP talent for every spec, I believe. So next up, we have a Bonds of Fel. So this encircles the enemies with a Bond of Fel, ensnaring them for 50% for 6 seconds. If any target leaves the 8-yard radius, it deals 8k split amongst all nearby targets. I believe this is a very similar ability to the mechanic in Gul'dan. It's very similar. I believe it's actually like the exact same thing. But it could be very good. It probably will be actually very good, I want to say. And then last up, we have Demonology with their new PvP talent, which is the Fel Obelisk. This is a 45-second cooldown ability, so it summons a Fel Obelisk with 5% of your max health and empowers you or your minions, increasing attack speed by 20% and reducing the cast time of spells. Could be a very strong thing to pair with your Tyrants, obviously, and I don't know. I'm not sure how well Demo performs in PvP. I know it's been on the rise a little bit. Necrolord Demo could be very good, so maybe this might be a good thing for Demo as well. Personally, I wouldn't play Demo in PvP. I'm more of a Destruction person, but hey, to each their own there. So anyways, that's all I got for this video here. If you guys like my content, feel free to hit the sub button. Don't forget to like and leave your comments and thoughts below on what you think about these Warlock changes and what would you like to see coming from Blizzard in the next couple of weeks. Also, for those who don't know, I do stream on Twitch, generally during the weekdays and starting around like 6 EST, give or take. Feel free to stop by, say hi. You can pick up my UI if you like that as well. Anyways, that's all I got for now, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.